Mike, actually, why don't we do that with you real quick? I'm going to load up this weekend's schedule because this is something whether you planned for or didn't plan for. I got faith in you that you'll be able to pick for me.
All right.
Eric, me and you will do this tomorrow. Al Money's going to call in. We're going to make a big. We did this last year where we had like 4 or 5 every week pick games. We kept track throughout the year, sort of how like they do on all the TV shows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm loading up week 1 schedule right now. And I'm going to go through the games with you, Mike, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to write them down for you because starting tomorrow when we do our game picks, we're going to keep track of everything. I'm going to try and set something up on the website where people can keep track of them as well. So we're going to start off with our 1 o'clock games. The first game on the list that I'm looking at is Indianapolis Colts at the Chicago Bears. Now, you don't need to give me spreads. We'll do.
That's good.
We'll do. What I will ask is on Monday night game, or actually, you know what? My game of the week is the Sunday night game, so I'm gonna make
that's
you
a
do
good
a point
game.
prediction
The
on Sunday night
game.
game. So Indianapolis at Chicago.
Well, I think it'll be pretty close. Chicago's improved, but I think Andrew Luck's going to be good. I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to go with Indy.
Wow, going an upset early. All right, and I don't know what we're going to do at the end of the year, but we'll figure something out where the loser has to go buy drinks for everybody. So I don't know. We'll figure that out. All right, our next game is Philadelphia at Cleveland.
I have Trent Richardson, and I'm benching him this week. I don't mind telling you. I'm going with Philadelphia. I think that defense is going to be much better than last year.
They gotta be, man.
Yeah.
Juan Castillo, dude. Andy Reid's resting his job on that, man. New England at Tennessee. And I have some interesting opinions about Tennessee that we're going to talk about tomorrow, Eric. I do. Get you excited.
Well, I think Jake Locker is going to have a great year this year, truthfully. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback for him. I think I think Britt is suspended for this week, right?
Yes.
So I think Kendall Wright could wind up having a good game, but still got to go with the Patriots.
It's hard not to pick, especially on a week 1 game.
But I think Tennessee will wind up impressing some people this year. Definitely.
Fair enough. All right, now our next game is Atlanta at Kansas City.
Very interested to see how the Jamal Charles, Peyton Hillis backfield is going to look. I think that could be phenomenal. But for right now, I think Atlanta's got way too many options on offense. And Kansas City's defense, never been very good. And we're going to see how they hold up against an elite offense. So I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Atlanta, all right. Our next game, which we will call, I'm sort of stealing from ESPN on this one, and I just want to give them credit for the idea of me saying this, but we will call this the game of the week, WEAK, Jacksonville at Minnesota. This is the game that, even if you're a fan of the teams, you still probably won't watch this game. Just gonna put that out there.
Did you just call that the game of the week?
Weak.
WEAK.
Weak, like not strong.
Really weak. Yes.
It's a fun play on words. I stole the idea from ESPN though, so I got to give them credit. So I'm not, acting like it's my own thoughts. So Jacksonville at Minnesota.
Another young quarterback I think is going to do pretty good this year, Christian Ponder. I think Jacksonville may have a couple little moments in there, but with everything going on, Jones-Drew still acclimating to the offense, you got to pick Minnesota on this.
Like Minnesota. I like the pass rush in Minnesota. Washington at New Orleans, the premiere of Robert Griffin III.
Well, with everything that went on with the Saints defense this year, it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to handle a guy like RG3 in his first game. It's funny. I went with the upset. I chose Andrew Luck to win, and I'm going to choose RG3 to lose.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for you to say win.
I'm picking. Sorry, what was the other team?
You're picking New Orleans.
Saints.
New Orleans. There you go. Yeah, I'm sorry, Drew Brees. Washington's defense is not going to be able to stop Drew Brees.
I don't really see that happening either, but I'll voice that opinion tomorrow. All right, one of the bigger games, especially for our tri-state area, you got the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets, and I think this is going to be a fun game to watch.
Right now, who's the Jets receivers outside of Santonio Holmes and Stephen Hill? That's all I want to know. I want to know how the Tebow thing is going to play out. Obviously, the defense is still going to be one of the best in the league. I think I'm going to say Buffalo.
Buffalo?
Yeah. I'm going to say Buffalo.
You're in the majority with that one, believe it or not. All right, next game, St. Louis at Detroit.
St. Louis, another up-and-coming team. I'm going to be interested to see how some of their young receivers click with Sam Bradford. Gotta go. And again, I did it again. St. Louis against who?
St. Louis against Detroit. At Detroit.
Yeah, no, Detroit. I'm picking
right.
Detroit. Stafford. I'm going to start writing these team names down so I don't forget them.
Miami at Houston is our next game.
I got to give this one to Houston. I think Tannehill is going to. I think this is a bad defense for him to face his first time around. Wade Phillips did a great job with that defense last year, and Matt Schaub is back, which I mean they wound up going to the playoffs with T.J. Yates last year. So Schaub being back, I think it's going to be Houston.
You expect him to be an upgrade, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And they still got Arian Foster and Ben Tate.
All right, so Houston on that one. Now we got San Francisco at Green Bay, which would have been the game of the week if the Cowboys and Giants didn't kick off the season against each other. But
very true. Well, I mean, the Niners got the great defense. Packers are hoping to improve their defense off of what it was last year. I'm just not impressed with San Francisco's offense. Alex Smith is a decent quarterback, but you know, I'm not on the Randy Moss bandwagon. Crabtree's been a disappointment the last couple of years. I don't have faith in Frank Gore lasting the entire season. I think if he really was going to, they wouldn't have brought in as many running backs as they did. And how do you root against Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I can't even on my fantasy team, so.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Green Bay on that.
All right, so we're down to our last 2 minutes before we got to wrap up. So I'm gonna speed round you on this one. Seattle at Arizona.
Seattle.
Carolina at Tampa Bay.
I'm going to go with Carolina and Cam Newton.
All right, now I'm going to skip Sunday night's game because I want you to give me a score on that one. So our Monday night game doubleheader starts off with Cincinnati at Baltimore.
You know, I know Baltimore's defense is aging, but I can't pick against them just yet.
Fair enough.
Can't do it.
And our West Coast Monday night game, San Diego at Oakland. Two teams that could be 4-12 or 12-4. You have no idea.
I mean, San Diego is another team like the Cowboys who seems to find every way to lose, but for right now, I still got to pick them over Oakland.
Okay. And now our Sunday night game is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Denver Broncos. Premier Peyton Manning. Safety Ryan Clark can't play. But with that being said, who you got and what's your score?
Well, Ryan Clark being out is going to hurt Pittsburgh a lot. Obviously, still the aging defense. It'll be very interesting to see how Peyton Manning is in his first game back off the neck injury since the Super Bowl the year before last. I'm going to say 27-24 Pittsburgh over Denver. I just think Pittsburgh's offense, I love Antonio Brown. Good to have Wallace back. And, you know, I think Peyton may wind up having a good game, but expecting him to beat a quality team like Pittsburgh in his first game back in over a year, I think it may be a little too much.
A little too much to ask. All right.